Okay, let's have a quick look at hybrid picking and explain what it is. Now, we know that normal picking is just taking the pick and picking on the strings. Now, hybrid picking means that we use the pick and fingers. Now, there are quite a few combinations of this technique, but I want to give you the basic one to start off, and then we'll do you know, a little bit more advanced stuff later on. So, in simple terms, we pick a note and then we pick a second note with the second finger of our right hand. So, let's just have a quick look at that. I'm going to take this shape and I'll explain this shape to you in a minute because it's a nice lick. But we're going to be on the D and B strings, okay? And hopefully what you can see me do is picking that D string, and then it's kind of like a claw technique. If you can imagine this second finger being like a claw, and it pulls upwards like that. Okay? And the nail is actually acting as a plectrum itself. Okay? So the finger actually sort of comes upwards like that. If you think like kind of like an eagle's claw. Now, some people actually get their nail to try and be the same size as the plectrum, or the other way round would probably be more, you know, applicable. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't really worry about that. But some country players, for example, what they'll do is they'll try and buy a plectrum that's the same thickness as their nail, because I'm sure people's nails are different thicknesses, even though I don't really go around looking. But, you know, so some people are really particular about it. But, you know, what I do is I just think of that finger as a different, as another plectrum. Now, you can also use a more sort of fleshy tone by putting the finger down there and sort of pulling upwards more with the, okay, with the flesh. But the initial technique we're going to do is going to be pick and finger, but using that nail. Okay, so let's look at a shape that we can use this technique on. So this shape is going to be a lick that's going to work over an E chord, especially in a blues or rock and roll. And the shape that we're going to use is this. Okay, so we have 6 on the D string, played are going to be 5th on the B string. We move that shape up so that now we have 7 on the D and 7 on the B. And you can see it's my second and third finger playing that. We move up a tone and play 9D and 9B. We can also put this one in the middle for chromaticism, which makes it like a chromatic passing tone, or 2 tones in this case. Okay, so we have that. But this one, just remember, doesn't stand out on its own. You know, you couldn't go over the chord. It has to be passing between the 7 and 9. Okay, now I'm going to do a demonstration to a backing track in a minute using this technique, and it's going to be 3 chords, E, A and B. So I'm going to give you some other shapes that you can use. Now we're just going to move over a string for the A chord, and we're going to do exactly the same thing, but it's just going to be on the G and high E strings this time. So it's going to be 6 on the G and 5 on the high E. Okay, then it's going to be 7 on the G and high E. Move up a tone, 9 on the G and high E. And remember that passing tone we can have, which will be on the 8 G and 8 high E, but remember it sounds odd on its own. So just as a passing tone. Okay, so we have E, A. For the B, we move the A1 up a whole step, 2 frets. So that's going to be 8 on the G, 7 on the high E, 9 on the G and high E, 11 on the G and high E, and then we can use that passing tone as well. Okay, so what I'm pretty much doing is playing the two notes together, but what you can do is play them separately, obviously, if you'd like. Okay, now I like to slide into these notes as well, so what I'll do is approach maybe from a semitone below. So hopefully what you can see me do there is taking that